Would you be able to handle it if someone suddenly surprise attacked you and threatened you with bodily harm or trying to steal something from you or threatening your life? Could you emotionally handle that? We're going to talk about that today on Black Belt Life. Hi everyone, Darren Myers from Black Belt Life. Today we're talking about the emotional control that's necessary to defend yourself. And this is the third part of our three-part series on the physical control, the mental control, and the emotional control. Now all three of these, of course, work together. They all interlace, and they've all got to be together in order to be successful in protecting yourself against a violent aggressor. Now, what it starts with is, where is your level of awareness? Where did you start when all of a sudden you're surprised by an attacker? And that's going to be one of the biggest things that's going to start this whole thing off. Is you're going to get surprised. You're going to get shocked. You're going to be absolutely just taken mostly by surprise, depending on what your awareness level is. And, we want to think about awareness levels as basically think like green light. Green light, everything's fine. If we're in, regular life mode, we're relaxing at home, we're just enjoying our family, watching TV, etc. That's pretty much green light. In other words, we're pretty much protected. Now, even at home, with home invasions and things like that, you need to be somewhat aware. You need to have have your doors locked, okay? Have your alarm system on if you have one. Pay attention to your dog if he barks. And listen to the sounds that are going on in and around your home. So you're in green light, but there's still a slight sense of awareness that should be always ever present, okay? And then yellow light or yellow condition is when you're on alert. So you're outdoors, you're outside, you're at the mall, you're at the Walmart or whatever, and you should now have your radar on. Okay, your head's on a swivel, you're constantly looking around, you're constantly listening to what's going on around you. And you're not on this thing all the time, with your mind totally distracted. You've got to be aware of what's going on. And then there's orange level, okay? There's orange or amber type of an alert, where now you're on high alert because you've heard something, you've seen something, something is happening, and now you're suddenly in a position where you're going, wait a minute, what's going on? So now you're starting to evaluate. You're starting to think about what your action plan would be. You're starting to think about, what would I do if this is really an emergency, all right? And that's the kind of thing that you're now, your awareness has gone to a very high level. But then red is, okay, something's happening. Something is absolutely happening, and we're taking action. We're engaging. We put this action plan into action. It's happening. We've got to make sure that we are prepared for that. And so if somebody surprises us, that means our level of awareness wasn't where it probably needed to be. And probably the first emotion that's going to hit you is going to be fear. And fear is a very strong emotion, to say the least. And some people are going to be those type of people that are going to absolutely just freeze in fear. So there's going to be that fight or flight type of reaction where you either run from it or you react to it in that you're ready to fight, or you're ready to defend yourself. You're ready to do whatever you need to do in order to get home. And that should be your goal. That should be the thought in the back of your head. I need to do whatever's necessary to get home. Get home to my family, get home to my children, get home to my dog, you know. You want to make sure that you're ready to do what's necessary. So emotionally, you have to be, first of all, calm. All right. Try to stay calm. You know, years ago, we had these shirts that came out, these sayings, keep calm and fight on, or, you know, keep calm and carry on. Keep calm and everything. I mean, this was pretty popular. Even keep calm and wear purple. Really? Really? Wear purple? No, I'm not wearing purple. But anyway, the idea was, you know, stay calm. Whatever's happening, relax. Chill out, stay calm. Now, can you do that in a self-defense situation? Can you do that in a violent attack? That's going to be tough. That's going to be hard. Okay. In 2013, the Washington Navy Yard had that mass shooting where one of the contractors came in with a shotgun and he started shooting the place up. One of my students was in that building, in that room with that shooter, and, you know, bullets are going off, things are exploding, glasses breaking, all kinds of things. And fortunately, he was in uniform. The guy was not shooting people in uniform. Okay, so, you know, he was after certain people. And fortunately, he had the mental and emotional control to stay calm, to try to get to an exit, and then try to go back and pull other people to safety. What was terrible about that, and, you know, 12 people were killed, 8 people were injured in that. He grabbed people and they were frozen in place. They couldn't move. They were so scared, so surprised, so fearful that the fear overtook them and they literally could not move. They were like, no, I can't go. I can't go. All right. And I mean, bullets are going off. It was insane. And he could not believe the people that were absolutely frozen and would not even move to safety. So now, of course, in a work situation, you should hopefully be in a level green type of situation. And I think we're having stream problems. Oh no. Yep, it's going in. There we go. Okay, we're back. So, but we shouldn't have those kind of problems at work. You know, this should be a green level situation, maybe a yellow at most. But all of a sudden, shooting starts to happen. Are you prepared for that? Are you emotionally able to handle something like that? I think it would be extremely difficult. And yes, that's what you've got to try to do, is stay calm. Now, what happens is I've talked about in the previous videos, which I'll link them to below, is the adrenal stress response syndrome. And this is where all of a sudden the surprise happens, the fear overtakes, and the blood pressure goes up. The adrenaline is pumped into the system, and your heart rate goes up. And you feel like your legs weigh 1,000 pounds each, and your arms weigh 500 pounds each, and you can't hardly move. This is where some people, on the other hand, that adrenaline hits them, and suddenly they can lift a car off of somebody, you know, off a loved one or a child. So what we have to do is we have to be able to channel that adrenaline rush into a controlled response. All right. In martial arts and in the days of the samurai, they had something called a state of mind called Mushin no Shin. And Mu means emptiness in Mushin, and it refers to an empty mind in the sense that distractions and preoccupations, fears and worries are absent and no more an issue for the mind, whether it's in combat or in daily life. Now, this pure state of mind or of pure mental clarity is produced by the absence of the ego and of what we limit ourselves as. So a Mushin mind is not an empty mind like an empty shell. I mean, it's not like when you're watching TV and you're totally brainless like I have to do at night, okay? On the contrary, it is a mind that is fully present, fully aware, and free to act as it needs to act, all right? Think about when you, like, for instance, when you drive a car. Okay, you drive a car. In other words, your mind's going to flow wherever it needs to, wherever it's necessary to go, and you're going to be able to react to just about any sudden incident. So, what do you have to do? You're getting ready to change lanes. Somebody in front of you is starting to stop. All right. And you look over in your rear view mirror. You put on your turn signal. You go over to to that other lane, turn off your turn signal, look behind you, check the mirrors, etc., and you hit the accelerator and go. There's a lot of motor action and motor skill going on there. And because we've been driving such a long time, you don't even think about it. You just do it naturally, okay? Because it's something that was learned and practiced over years and years and years. That's kind of the idea of Mushin. So it's hard to drive if you think about it. You have to step on that accelerator and the brake and look at the mirrors and the side mirrors and the rearview mirror. And besides, you have to check the speedometer and pay attention to the signs and the people around you and the cars around you. How can you do all that? All right. How is it possible to do all that and not really thinking about each particular action? That's because the mind does not stay in one place when you're in that state, such as just looking at the rearview mirror, okay, and you're just staring at the rearview mirror and the car's there. You don't do that. You don't care about what's in front, what's behind, or whatever. I shouldn't say you don't care. You're not focusing totally on that, okay? The mind is nowhere, yet it is everywhere. And the essence of Mushin mindset is that you're seeing without thinking, without judgments, without preconceived notions about what you see. You're just taking it all in. You're just absorbing it. And your mind, without conscious thought, does exactly what it needs to do. It reacts, it responds, it's a conditioned response. So there's an absence of lengthy thought and judgment. So a person's totally free to act and react towards an opponent in a violent situation without hesitation, without disturbance from such thoughts. At this point, a person relies not on what they think they should be the next move, but what they're trained naturally to do, and their natural reaction, or what is felt intuitively. So this becomes like I said, a conditioned response. It's an intuitive response from their training. So is this state of mind of Mushin easy to obtain? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, it's an extremely difficult concept for even some of the most experienced martial artists to even relate to. In the days of the samurai, they were able to reach this state, many of them, not all of them, many of them, because they trained in this. They trained in combat. They trained in life and death from the time they were a child all the way to the point where they actually entered combat, later on in their life. So Mushin is a state of mind that's achieved by very harsh and strategic training and programming of martial science techniques. And it's where the training takes over and the physical movements no longer require any thought. Yet it's much more than just mere reflex. It is trained responses. So It's kind of very much like an accomplished musician, okay, that no longer reads the music, okay. He closes his eyes and he just plays from the heart, from the mind, from the soul, with spirit, born only through endless hours of diligent, methodical, and mechanical practice. And he just lets it go. And he plays by feel, not by thought or movement. The same way a very skilled martial arts fighter feels his space, his opponent's movements, and connects directly to that feeling, which allows him to fight unrestrained by any thought or any technique. He does what is necessary. You know, in the military, they have training just for this, to take over and to make that response, handle that adrenaline response. Because you think about combat, and I was never in the military, but I've had the wonderful opportunity of training people in the military. And you think about combat with bullets flying and RPGs going off and mortars and all kinds of noise and people getting injured and dying and all. You have to react through either panic and fear or through precise movements that you've been trained to do. So they'll go through very difficult type of training where they, they're being yelled at and they're being, pushed to the very limits, physically, mentally, and emotionally. All right. And you think about, somebody in that combat situation and they're actually just frozen in fear. And then it happens, they just get frozen with all this going on. But then you think about the sniper who's in that same situation, yet he has to find his targets, estimate the distance, wind, the velocity of the wind. He has to think about the trajectory of the bullet, and he has to make the adjustments, the fine adjustments that he has to do to dial in and make the shot so that he saves all his friends and his comrades there. That's fine motor skills. And that's the problem in most situations. When the adrenaline hits, we lose those fine motor skills. So how do we handle that? How do we handle the emotion that comes with that adrenaline response? Training. It's the only way. It's training. And you have to be put in situations where you're under stress, you're under pressure, and you have to perform. Okay. One of the big things that will happen in that situation is you'll find that you're not breathing well. You're panting, you're hyperventilating, etc. You've got to stop, take a breath. You've got to stay calm. Okay. And breathing is going to be one of the big things that's going to help you. Just like when a sniper is getting ready to take a shot, he's got to take a deep breath and let it out. And then hold it and steady himself and do what he has to do. In martial arts training, we do in what's called our urban defense fit class and our advanced karate class is we'll put them in situations and say, okay, person's going to attack you, and defend yourself any way you can. All right. And then all of a sudden, everybody else in the class is on them. We got one person attacking, but everybody else is on them, screaming at them, yelling at them, talking down to them, trying to make them mess up. And it'll mess people up, okay? They can't concentrate. They can't focus on what they're doing because it hasn't become a conditioned response yet, all right? And they lose the emotional control during that. We'll do it with kata. Okay, a person does a kata. Okay, start doing Pinnan Sandan or something like that. And all of a sudden everybody in the class is yelling at them, screaming at them. They're in their face. They're trying to do the movements, but people are right around them in every direction, and they'll lose the focus of the kata. All right. That's the kind of training that has to be done to try to handle that emotional response. Can it be done without training? That's hard to say. That's hard to say. It is something that the training is going to help tremendously. The problem is that most people, the great majority of people, have never, ever been in a violent situation. They've never been attacked. They've never been trained for an attack. But they've never had that situation where all of a sudden their life depends on what they do next. And they're in threat of their life. They have somebody who's coming at them and is, actually going to try to hurt them, to try to do something to them that may make the difference between them being able to go home or not. All right. Or maybe going to the hospital, or maybe going to the morgue. And we don't want to see that happen. So what we're doing is we're trying to give people an insight into it. Do you need training? Yeah, everybody does. Okay. Is a 2-hour self-defense course going to help you? It may. Okay. It may, because, and I'm going to have somebody on in a matter of weeks that has developed a program that doesn't rely so much on techniques for self-defense, and especially for like women's self-defense, because most of the things that have been taught in the past have been technique-oriented. Seminars have been technique-oriented. In other words, you go to a seminar and they talk about awareness and, being aware of your situation and everything, and then they teach a whole bunch of techniques. And the problem is 2 weeks later, or even 2 hours later, you don't remember all the techniques. You don't remember what you learned. And because there's no practice. But what and this is Shandai Donna Ellis. She has developed this conceptual type of self-defense that we teach in our Urban Defense Fit class. And the idea is that you got to remember 3 things, just 3 things. And I'm not going to give those away right now, but the first one is you got to be calm. Okay. And you have to remain calm throughout it. You've got to take a breath. You've got to evaluate the situation and try to stay calm. And keep in mind, I've got to get home. And that's what it's all about, is stay calm and think about what is it going to take to get home. Can we be in control of our emotions? I will tell you that I was in a situation where I was attacked. I was aware that the person, it was kind of one of those, highway type of situations. And I pulled into a shopping center and I thought the person was gone. And the next thing I know, I go to get out of my car and he's in my face with a stick and he's ready to attack me. I was very calm. I was surprisingly calm. And my thought process was, I'm going to control this guy. Well, I didn't know he was on drugs. Found that out later. And he didn't feel the things I was doing to him. And so it was surprising that he was able to withstand some of the blows I put on him, some of the holds I put on him, things like that. And emotionally myself, mentally myself, I had the control, but I didn't have the mindset that I need to take this guy out. I need to take this guy down. I need to injure this guy in order to stop him. Okay. Fortunately, people came around and he ran off, but I got to the point where I realized I've got to take this guy out. Okay. Either unconscious, injure something, or I've got to do with whatever's necessary. And fortunately, the situation dissipated. But I can remember my students, as I related the story to them, they were like, man, we feel sorry for the next guy that attacks you. And yes, that changed my mental and emotional thought process about self-defense, where I'm like, somebody attacks me now, I'm taking them out. I'm taking them down. I'm putting them unconscious. I'm going to, do what's necessary to make that person stop. Okay. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to make this person stop. So we're going to be talking a lot about self-defense, not just me, but I'm going to have some special guests on in coming weeks. And I hope you'll join us. I hope you'll hit the subscribe button so you'll know when we go on. Sorry about today's being a little late. Had some family problems, but worked those out. And if you like what we're doing, hit that like button as well. We would really appreciate it. And I hope you'll join us again on Black Belt Life. So let me finish with our dojo ethics, because karate martial arts begins and ends with respect. And we all need to respect each other. We are responsible for our behavior because actions have consequences. And there is no excuse for bad manners, because we lead by example. Thanks so much, folks. Have a great week. See you soon.